Hello everyone and welcome to Salesforce Live at Dreamforce. It's a pretty exciting day today, and I'm Joshua Newman, the Chief Medical Officer of Salesforce, and I'm really pleased to be sitting with Laura Esserman. Laura, would you tell people where you're from and what you do these days?
Thanks, Josh. It's really great to be here. I'm a surgeon. I'm a breast cancer surgeon and researcher, and I run the Carol Frank Buck Breast Care Center at the University of California, San Francisco, but I also run the Athena Breast Health Network across the 5 University of California campuses and Sanford Health in the Midwest. And I also run we are starting this huge trial in personalized screening called the Wisdom Study, and I also run a big trial on high-risk breast cancer called the I-SPY trial.
We're really thrilled that we've worked together for so many years on some of these initiatives, and today we're really focused on the Wisdom trial.
That's
so
right.
Could you tell the viewers out there, what is the Wisdom trial?
So the Wisdom trial is an attempt to try and figure out how we can make screening better. I'm sure everybody has heard about the controversy in mammography screening. And instead of arguing about data that's 30 and 40 years old, we think it's high time to start figuring out how to do something better. It turns out that breast cancer isn't one disease. We know that. So why are we screening as if everyone is at risk for the same disease and has the same risk? That's not true. So it's now time to harness all the information we know about risk, all the information we know about the breast cancer subtypes, and try and figure out how we should do a better job of both screening and preventing breast cancer. Not just more, but more for those that need it and less for those that don't.
For some of the audience that might not know current screening guidelines or even what the issue is, what are we doing today and what's the problem with it?
Right, so the problem is that there is no real consensus on the guidelines. The radiology community is very focused on maintaining the old guidelines of screening everybody from 40 years of age on every year with a screening mammogram. The U.S. Preventive Task Force guidelines had recommended screening every other year starting at 50, with maybe screening people at higher risk in their 40s. But the problem is, and there's lots of in-between guidelines, so what's a person to do? The problem is breast cancer is very common. Right? There isn't a family or group that's not affected. It's either you yourself are at risk, or you know a family member or a friend who's had breast cancer. Everybody is impacted. But there's a lot that we have learned, that some people have cancers that aren't that risky, and some people have cancers that are very risky. So the trick here is not to just treat everyone the same. We never do that now, and we shouldn't do that. The trick is to try and figure out who is at risk for what kind of breast cancer and how to tailor our screening interventions so that we do the most good for the most people.
So it makes sense when you say that our current guidelines are based on age, that we're missing a lot in the details. What other kinds of data would you bring to bear to understand someone's unique situation?
Well, so we believe that now that we really understand the inherited predisposition that you can have, some people have errors in their genes that make them much more susceptible to getting a breast cancer. So these are actually not very common, but we can actually know about them. The technology has changed so much that instead of asking people a whole bunch of questions, or if people have small families and you don't understand their family history, we can actually get that data. And for the price of about a mammogram now, we've partnered with Color Genomics, and we can actually find out what that information is for every individual woman, whether they have one of these high-risk genes. Another thing that we can find out is there's increasing information that the small changes in your genes, each one by themselves doesn't mean that much, but together they actually explain a lot of risk. So we can put that into a model and look at breast density, exposures, family history, and it's all something we can do with these risk models, and we can put them together and say, look, we can understand what your risk is. And the cool thing with technology is, and as you know, we built this whole trial on the Salesforce platform, because we can take this right to women at their homes. They don't have to come in anywhere to do this. And if we want to get that information about their genetics, we can just send a spit test, a little kit right to their house. And we can put all this information in, and every 6 months, we can update our risk models. Because, this is the lesson we've learned from Salesforce and technology. every year something new should come up. We want people to say, look, I demand to have a better model. I want all the improvements and risk and understanding to change as the information comes in. So we can update our model of risk every year. So we're testing a risk-based model versus the standard one-size-fits-all, everybody gets screening, every year starting at 40. Now you may ask, what's wrong with just screening people, right?
Yeah, why not just screen everyone?
Well, it's not so simple. I mean, first of all, when you screen everybody, it's about $10 billion a year to screen. And for that, we should be doing the best job we can. And part of the problem is that 3/4 of the women who are called back for biopsies turn out to have nothing. And they don't need it. It's a really stressful thing. And we're finding some things that are very early and probably aren't the dangerous kinds of cancers, and we're winding up over-treating them. And we're probably not getting the fast-growing cancers as well as we should. So we need to modify and make changes, and we have to set up a learning system. Every year, people are expecting a new iPhone. I say everyone should demand, I want a new model. And the way for people to do that is to participate in the study, like the Wisdom study. We make it possible for people to participate in such a way that if you really have strong feelings about it, you can choose. We ask you to be assigned one way or the other because, most women spend 30 to 40 years of their life in screening. So spend 5 years with us and help us get an answer.
Sounds like with adding family history, past medical history, and genetics, you're really changing the whole breast density. You're changing the whole paradigm. You're sort of modernizing breast cancer screening, and I suspect you hope it becomes the new standard.
I certainly hope so. And it's not, it's not A versus B. It's A, and how can we continue to evolve it and make it better? We should demand to do better. And what we say to women is, it's been so difficult because people are almost religious in their beliefs of one versus the other. That catches women in the middle. That's terrible. Really, what we need to do is say, we want to do better. We want to do better for everyone. We want to have the data transparent. That's another thing that we're excited to partner with you on, because we can share the data with everyone. We share the data with the women who participate. We share with the people who are paying for it. We share with all the guideline makers so that we can get better every year. Let us generate the data. Let's create the wisdom that's going to help us do better for every single woman.
That would be great. We want to all see that. Where are we in that process? Tell me how are things progressing?
So, very exciting. So we opened the trial this year, and so far about 12,000 people have enrolled. We've consented about 7,000 women, only 93,000 to go. So we need everybody to participate. This is something, if all women want a better future, and actually, I'm sure there's many women in your life that you love.
That's true.
Who are of screening age.
That's true.
And you can encourage them to participate in this study. So WISDOM stands for Women Informed to Screen Depending on Measures of Risk. Right? So that, what we say is share your wisdom. And if you participate for 5 years, you'll get a better answer.
So what does it mean to actually participate? What is it? Everyone knows sort of what it means to show up and get a mammogram. You show up, you wait for the results, and you come back. What is it like to be a part of the Wisdom trial?
So really, you need to go to the wisdomstudy.org website. We have it open in California, and we have it open in several centers in the Midwest. We're actually trying to raise the resources so we can open it up in more places across the country. We're partnering with the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. So we actually are trying to do something we think is very important and very exciting, this idea of coverage with evidence progression. That we know that we can do better with the resources we have and be smarter. We don't want to just screen more. We want to screen smarter. We want to have more wisdom in the way that we screen. So really all you have to do, if you're between 40 and 74, you can go to the wisdomstudy.org website and sign up if you're in California, if you are in the Midwest, and stay tuned if you're just interested. We're actually trying to raise enough money to bring in additional sites. So you can go to
Wisdom, text
Wisdom
to
text,
donate money, to
right.
text Wisdom to 71777.
That is correct.
That is it? That's the way to
That
do
is
it?
That's the way to do it. And we think that this is going to be a great model for screening for all cancers and for this kind of change. What we really love about the technology industry is that it sets up a pace of learning and the idea of passion for learning, passion for wanting to do better. And I say that we shouldn't be satisfied with the way we do things now. Why should we? We should be doing things better tomorrow than we are today. And the only way you can do that is to demand to get the data and to learn, and for us to find out, well, who's at risk for what kind of cancer. And that actually opens up the whole opportunity also for us to figure out how to prevent breast cancer, because we'll know more about the specific types of people who get it. Everyone says they want to do it, but now we have an opportunity for every woman of screening age to step forward and participate. I think it's really
It seems
exciting.
like there's not only benefit for the women getting screened for their own health, but they're contributing to a knowledge base that may benefit, who knows, maybe women all around the world.
Everybody. And in fact, we're working with a group in Europe that's a companion study to Wisdom, and so they're going to do a study in Europe as well.
Does it seem surprising? It seems surprising to me that we're in 2017 and we're not already using genetics and modern technologies and these innovative approaches.
Well,
Can you speak about that?
I of course agree with you, and I think I think sometimes in medicine we get trapped in this idea. Well, we want to have evidence-based medicine, but in order to have that, you have to have data that's 10 years old. And I think what we have to do is make that shift to saying, okay, as new technology comes in and the pace of change in technology and our ability to learn speeds up and increases, we have to have the ways in which we can incorporate that into practice and think more about how we generate the evidence to learn. And that's where I think technology can play a crucial role in changing us from A versus B, or this is the way we've always done it, to, well, wait a minute, why are we doing it that way? There must be a better way. And if I have a better idea, then let's put it to the test and let's generate the data that drives that change in practice. And we want to move to this idea of the continuous ability to learn and improve, right?
There's something really interesting about this too. Salesforce is sort of known in some ways for democratizing technology. We made it very easy for people to use our earliest products. We now make it easy for people to use our machine learning and advanced technology and augmented intelligence technologies. It seems like in some ways you're doing a similar thing. Whereas old protocols and standards used to come from on high, from a bunch of docs getting together, researchers getting together, it seems like you're opening this up to enable every woman who wants to, in some ways, to really contribute to this process.
Right, to participate, to be the change. And that's actually one of the reasons why we looked to Salesforce. We started partnering with you guys in 2009 when we first got this idea of integrating the knowledge from treatment, making sure those advances in treatment actually influence screening and prevention. And so now this study, and people would say, well, why not just do things? Why not just switch to personalized screening? But the problem is you have to be able to, it's great to believe in things, but it's much better, to show the data.
We believe in data as well.
You believe in data, right? They say in God we trust, all others must bring data. Well, we think everybody has to bring data. But that's actually, how you learn and how you get those insights. And so I think for all of us in medicine, I think we need to start thinking about how we use these platforms to really change the paradigm for how we learn. You don't want to memorize facts or just be stuck in a rut. You want to say, wow, here's the opportunity to keep learning and make that part of this, that everything we do should be better tomorrow than it is today.
I agree.
And the only way we do that is to start saying, okay, here is the way in which we collect the data. Our focus should be on making sure the critical pieces of information are there for every single person, and that we have a shared way of learning, not just at our own institution, but across institutions, to be able to say, wow, look at this opportunity. Here's how I can make change. That's what these platforms that you guys at Salesforce and other technology companies are helping us to do. We need to embrace it and make it not just part of how we get people in for an appointment, but to make that part of how we practice. That's the learning paradigm. We have to change our mindset. our skill sets and our tool sets.
Great.
And really drive change. So I say, women, if you want a better future, join the wisdom study. Be the change. Share your wisdom. Help us get to a better answer and do better for you.
So they can join in, become a participant by going to wisdom.org,
Wisdomstudy.org.
wisdomstudy.org, or they can donate via sending a text message saying wisdom to 71777.
Right.
Thank you all for joining, Laura and myself.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you all have a wonderful Dreamforce and enjoy Salesforce Live.
Thanks so much, Josh.
Thanks, Laura.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.